Today on the Headphone Samurai, we're going to talk about the new high-end Fostex headphone line, the TH-600 and TH-900. So a lot of you guys out there might remember the old Denon closed back headphone line, which kind of revolutionized the closed headphone world. Definitely some of the most natural closed back phones we had heard several years ago. Well, those were manufactured by Fostex for Denon. And those Denon headphones have since been discontinued, but Fostex has moved a lot of that technology and build into their new line. I do think they've made some major improvements, however, though. The first one on the bill is the TH-600. So you can see these really look a lot like the old Denons, same design. These are kind of a cool flat black matte finish. We do have some conflicting opinions around the office on whether or not these look cool, but I think they're pretty sweet. Darth Vader kind of looking, just hardcore black. The Denons tended to have kind of a thick low-mid response sometimes, and maybe a little bit of a recessed upper mid-range in the vocal region. But these phones definitely tighten up that bass response a bit. I think that they're just a little cleaner in the low mids, and the vocals tend to be a bit more present. Just a very nice kind of open sound. I was really impressed by the soundstage on these Fostex 600s too. For a closed back phone, I felt that they sounded just as airy, or maybe even more so than a lot of the open backs at this price range. If you're into electronic music or really anything, I think these are a pretty versatile phone. The bass response is fun and punchy, but pretty well controlled and tight. As you get up into the TH-900, it's really a pretty similar sounding phone to the 600, but kind of reminds me of the move from like the Denon 2000 maybe up to the Denon 5000 or 7000. It's just a more buttery, you know, lush kind of sound, especially in the bass. It's a little bit heftier, maybe a little bit more aggressive in the bass, but still well controlled. I did feel that compared to the 600, the 900s are a little smoother in the upper mid-range and high frequency response. It just seemed like the 600 sometimes could get a little edgy if you wanted to kind of turn them up. But the 900s really just sound silky and smooth and still very open. I did feel that the soundstage is probably even a little better on these 900s. And compared to stuff like the Odysseys and the other open back phones, I think that they really have a spacious sound that's very competitive with the planar magnetics and the other open backs. You can see the construction on the 900s is pretty much the same as the 600. It is actually a wood ear cup though on these 900s with this red finish on it, glossy. So some people find that a little sexier, a little cooler. Definitely kind of a hip color red. The ear cups on both of these are very comfortable. They don't really have a tapered feel to them like the old Denons did, but they sit nice and light on the ears, and overall they're not very heavy headphones. They do have a cloth cable, or a cloth wrapped cable with a 1/4 inch termination, both of them do. They do not come with an adapter, so if you've got a little portable amp with a mini, you might want to think about getting a 1/4 to 1/8 inch adapter. But these are definitely a good contender, both of them, for a portable closed back. They are fairly easy to drive, 25 ohms on both of them. And the sensitivity is a little different, 94 dB on the 600 and 100 dB on the 900. But they're both relatively easy to drive compared to all the other high-end phones. Boxes are pretty basic. This is the 600 box. Doesn't really come with anything extra. You just got a nice phone line box in there to hold the headphones. The 900s are the same deal, but they also come with a headphone stand. Little wire stand, kind of lightweight, but gives you a place to put your headphones. If you're going to be taking these portably, I do feel like they are not a super durable phone to be banging around, so if you're going to take them along with you, I would maybe recommend grabbing one of these Odyssey travel cases. They're 75 bucks and they fit perfectly in there. It's a nice foam lined interior, waterproof, so this would be my choice for taking these portably, because I definitely wouldn't want to just stuff them in my suitcase or something like that. So although the 600 and 900 are fairly similar, I think some people might actually like the 600 a little better in certain ways because it is a tad cleaner and the bass is a little more reserved. Kind of reminds me of like the Sennheiser 600 versus 650. You know, that 600 is just a little bit cleaner, more open kind of sound in the highs. Not that the soundstage is better really in the TH-600 than the 900, but I think that they just pop a little more in the vocal region, and the bass just doesn't quite have the enhancement of the 900. So if you're looking for a slightly more neutral presentation, the 600 might be up your alley more so than the 900. So the TH-600 is $12.99. Fairly reasonable price point, I guess. The 900 is $19.99, so that bumps it up a little bit more. But if you're in the market for some high-end headphones and you're maybe debating between open and closed, I definitely think you should give these a thought because I feel that they're just as open as most of the open back phones and have a nice soundstage and just killer sounding headphones overall. Very fun to listen to. So check them out. The Fostex TH-600 and 900. We've got them both in stock at headphone.com. And we'll see you next time on the Headphone Samurai.